I'm in a singing mode. That's weird.
You're going to be on stage. It's perfect.
So, you want to go first? You want to go?
All right.
Just like that.
Okay, welcome everyone to Tell 85. And Kazi's here. Welcome, Kazi. And as you've probably heard us say, it is the 9th anniversary of Tell. Tell started in February 2014. So please give it up for Dre Campbell, who has been hosting this. I'm just saying, give it up. You don't have to get it. You get to relax tonight.
Yeah, relaxing.
Relax. We're a small crowd, but I'm still going to pass around this little donation baggie. If you're able to give something, this is something that the bookstore splits with the storytellers. So if you're able to throw something in here, we appreciate it. You can also Venmo us at BGSQD. And that goes for you folks online too. You can Venmo us at BGSQD. And there's change on that.
Shout out to all the community officers.
If you're not already on our email list and you would like to be, you can sign up for that at the back of the room. And you'll get an email every other Monday about our upcoming events. So before we get started and I introduce our guest host, I'm going to do a quick land acknowledgement and then we'll jump in. So the Bureau acknowledges that our organization operates on the unceded land of the Munsee Lenape. We are actively seeking to partner with and provide material support to a local queer Indigenous organization. We hope to make an announcement about this partnership in the near future, but in the meantime, we encourage you to join the Bureau in signing up to make a monthly donation to the American Indian Community Houses Mannahatta Fund. The Mannahatta Fund, according to its website, is an invitation to all settlers and non-native people who wish to acknowledge the legacy of theft and genocide that comprise the history of New York City and the United States. So you can find out more at mannahattafund.org. And now, please give it up for our special guest host, Noye West Brown.
Oh my goodness. Okay, what has happened to me since last time I was here? I love the show. I haven't done it since the days of Just Online, though, I think, right? Oh my goodness. Who has seen me on the show Just Online? Yeah? Okay. There have been some developments since then. Not really on theme. Theme is Potpourri. Well, it kind of is on theme a little bit. Okay, so since then, my husband tried to divorce me. Okay, give it up for no, okay. I think that's kind of exciting. I was excited. I went right to the OBGYN because, like, before I got married, I was a polyamorous, like, free bisexual woman, and so I was like looking forward to tasting pussy. Okay, I'm just gonna say I was looking forward. So I went to the OBGYN. And she checked me out and she called everything down there perfect. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, malpractice, because what are you talking about? Like, perfect? You mean the smell? The color? What do you mean? Okay, so she called it perfect. After that happened, I started giving out free samples like a basket Robbins. I did. Wow. Yes. Actually, if you want, you can meet me in the back for meet and eat show. No, but my husband actually took it back, I think because monkeypox is a thing, right? He took it back. So we are still together. Isn't that wild after all that? Because I am what? Lazy. Okay, I will stay in a relationship forever. As long as it's chill. And right now it is. Okay, you're making eyes. You don't like that. You don't like that. Oh, you have no thoughts on it? That's okay too. No, I was talking to you, yeah. Okay, what's your thoughts on it? I'm actually hearing them.
Well, if you're bisexual, you're bisexual. Oh, what's the weather?
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, don't matter
That is true. Marriage is nothing. Thank you. I agree. Marriage is nothing. That is the. Yeah, love is love. Marriage. Exactly. You can love someone who's trying to divorce you. Like that's okay. You can love whoever you want. Exactly. We need that of divorce. You're right. So it's neither here nor there. I think that happened because we married interracially, though. How do you guys feel about that? I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah, we're interracial. Yeah.
It's all right.
It is all right. Yeah, you're right. It's right. Yeah, you're right. It is all right. You're right. It is a little different. To me, because I married. Okay, so interracial. Like I married a white, but like the whitest type of white. Y'all are fine. Y'all are fine. Yeah, exactly. I married a white from Connecticut. Crazy. I don't know why I did it, but as you were saying, love is love. And I think, okay, so being married to a white from Connecticut is like being married to the villain from any 80s movie, okay? And yeah, it's like I have very regal African name, Chukwunoyemrem, and his name is Hunter, which is not just a white name, it's a white activity, okay? It's a white activity. It's wild. It's like, we need to gather ourselves together. Yeah, the marriage is hard. See, you agree now. I know. Yeah, you do. Let's see. I just got back from Nigeria. That was fun. Yeah. I started seeing my family. I'm for sure the black sheep of the family, though, and I can tell that. Yes, by the introduction, I can tell. It's crazy because they go down the line, like when we're in front of like new people or like family members we haven't seen in a long time. They'll introduce all the kids, right? And I am the third youngest. They'll go to the oldest. They'll be like, "Oh, this is Bomash. She went to Yale." I shouldn't even say this is live stream. Hi, I don't know if you're watching. Hi, sister. They'll say, this is the oldest. She went to Yale and MIT, right? They'll go to the middle child and say, oh, she makes 7 figures. That's impressive, right? That's how they introduce them. When they get to me, they say, this is Noye. She fell in a gutter once when she was 8 years old. And it's like, that did happen. But other things have happened since then. Okay? It's wild, right? And when you're a Nigerian person, it's like, you can tell you're, okay, so we have very regal African names. Like my full first name is Chukwunoyemrem or Akaba, which means Jesus, but also like witch doctor. And it does actually, it means those things. Very weird. It's a good name. It's a good combo. It's a good combo, okay? But if you are a Nigerian person and you have a name like an English name, right? That means you were a mistake. That means you're a mistake, okay? So my grandmother, we were burying my grandmother when we went to Nigeria in RIP. She lived a long life. But she used to say to me, I kept remembering, when she was mad at me, she used to say, Imranoye, which translates from my language, Kalabari, to we should have named you Hunter. And I'm gonna miss her forever. Yes. Beautiful matriarch of our family, I think. All right, so we're gonna keep the show going. Yeah. Okay, keep it going. I'm very excited for this show. I just like storytelling. I don't get to do a lot of storytelling shows. I love watching storytelling. This the second comic coming to the stage right now, the next comic, is a dear friend of mine, very, very funny. You might have seen them on Risk. Get your hands together, or heard them on Risk. I don't know how that works. See them in person or like heard it later. Get your hands together right now for Calvin Cato.
Here, smell me on Risk. I don't know, whatever. It's a scratch and sniff podcast. You know, we're doing it. We're doing it. So I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to have to take you guys all the way back to a Wayback Machine. Okay, so we're going to go all the way back to last year. I know it's far. It's a lot happened, but I'm going to tell you a story. But first I have to give you a little bit of context for the story. So for the context, this is last year. I was single. I was also in a similar situation to Noye, where I was seeing a white. It wasn't working out. You know how you know how they do. I'm looking at the two white. You know. So as a single white, it wasn't working out, and I was gonna go do stand up in Europe for the first time ever. I'd never done stand up before. It was my major accomplishment. I was like, yeah. And so I was in England and then Scotland and then Greece, which was amazing. Thank you. Can you remind me, Dad? You were so important. Oh my. So here's the thing about Europe that's really fun is that the one thing I learned is that did you know that if you are black and you tell your fans you're a comedian, they just assume you're famous. It was crazy. Yeah. So this is what happened. I was on a plane, and this is actually on the last leg of this where I was going from Scotland to Greece. And this French lady on the plane started talking to me, and she goes, "Oh, you're going to Athens?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Athens because I'm going to go to stand-up comedy." And she literally said, "I knew you were Chris Rock." Like, wow. It's so awkward to have to be like, "Man, Chris Rock doesn't play coach." Like, I don't know what you think. Chris Rock ain't on, like, he on a jet. Like, what are we talking about? He ain't in the middle seat. You know what I mean? Like, that's not Chris Rock's life.
He was dressed in drag.
Are you saying I was dressing in drag on the
No, I'm
plane?
talking about Chris Rock was dressed in drag on the Fresh Prince on the episode where she played Michelle, whatever her name is.
I did not remember that, but I do have HBO Max, so I will check that out.
Jasmine.
Okay, so we're gonna put a pin in that, and we're gonna get to the story. So I want to give you the context. I'm single. I was in Europe. Yay, this is gonna be wonderful. So I was in England, and I was staying with my friend Michelle. It was super amazing. It was really fun doing shows every night in London. And I was telling Michelle about this, and Michelle was like, "You're in the UK. You're probably gonna get into some wild stuff." And I was like, well, "I mean, whatever. We'll see how wild." You know, like, I went to Wildly and I did cocaine 3 times. Like, I know what wild can be. You know, I got a little booger sugar. I know. You know, I know how the other half lives in the alley. And so I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's live a little bit." And then I was going out to Scotland because I was doing this festival called the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is like a huge festival. In case you guys don't know, literally like Edinburgh is like a town of like 250,000, and then it just balloons into a town of like millions of people from all around the world are coming. Everyone has a show, and literally like everyone has a show. So there's like storytelling, there's comedy, there are magicians I met, there was like plays, there's all this kinds of stuff. And because it lends itself to a very wild theater kid atmosphere. And so I get there, and the first couple nights I was like, this is a little wild, but it's fun, it's cool. I'm getting like drunk because I have to do a show every single day while I'm there for 12 days. And you know, you get drunk and you're like, whatever, this is cool. And the thing is that this is whenever I go to a new place, I always like to find like a new gay bar home base, like, where you can go, where everybody knows your name, whatever, just relax, have a drink. And I'm going to be,
That's right.
Thank you. And earmuffs audience, I'm going to be 40 years old. So I don't have like, thank you, very much. You know, you can tell about the Carhartts I'm wearing, but I am going to be 40. Go to the Carhartts, that's what you do. You go to Target Select. And so I'm gonna be 40. And because of that, when I look for a gay bar home base, I don't want like I'm not doing that. Like you two look like you're in your 20s, right? I'm assuming 20s.
I'm 33, but yeah.
I'm 30.
20s. Okay, so 33, please. You haven't even met Jesus yet. You're not at that age, you're fine. That's your fine. Oh, you're younger than Jesus. You're like Lawrence and Fonzie. I know that was a deep cut. That was unnecessary.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing I need like a calm, cool, like I'm not learning what an Olivia Rodrigo is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not introducing new music into my life. Like I cut off. Like, I learned what Dua Lipa was finally. I was like, her name isn't really Dua Lipa. Like I just learned that. I'm not putting more new information in. So I find this gay bar, and it gets really nice. And the first time I go in with the 2 people I'm doing a show with, because it's we're doing a storytelling show. So it was 2 of us. It's me, my friend Natalie. I hope she's not whatever. Okay, it's my friend Natalie. It's you, lady. Nothing said her whole government name. It is what it is. So it's me, my friend Natalie, who we're doing the show together, and then her husband Aaron, who's not performing but is just with us. And so we go into this gay bar, and I decide to order this drink that it's like a beer that has like a lime flavor in it. And so the bartender was like, "That's a Scott thing," and I was like, "Who the fuck did that?" He goes, "No, here's something better." And so he's just something better. And then we have this whole like weird, like, I'm like, "What's happening?" And then Natalie's like, "I think he's nagging you." And I was like, "Nagging made his way to London? Like, what is nagging across the pond? What is this?" But he's like, nagging, you know, where someone's like trying to like, you know, be like, "Oh, like I'm into you, but I'm gonna like be negative towards you so that you'll be wanting the dick, you know, whatever. Sorry, you'll be wanting to cuddle and play for cheese." So there might be adults in sorry, we don't tell them in this house. Listen, so
Yeah.
so we keep having this like report for, and every day I keep coming to the bar, we have this report, and then I guess what he's just giving me free drinks. And I'm like, that's a universal sign. When I'm like, oh, the bar doesn't lose money and they have security cameras, so like you're on record as giving me drinks. And I was like, okay, this guy likes you, he's interested. But like, and, you know, we keep doing this whole weird dance where like I'll stay until closing and then like nothing will happen. And then I'll say until closing, nothing will happen. But we'll keep flirting and talking and etc. So then it gets to the final night that I'm in Scotland, and I'm like, look, I have to make a move. Like, what is happening? And so in Edinburgh, it's not like New York City where like in Edinburgh, the bars like have to close at midnight. Like, you know, you're like, you know, it's in New York where it's like, where the bar to close at 12, and then it's 3 a.m. and people are like dancing on the bar, smoking cigarettes and putting it out in the fucking bar back tray. Like, no, we have to close. And so they ring a bell like a town crier. Like it's like, bring out your dad! Like they ring a whole bell. So it gets to 11:30, he rings a bell, and he's been like sitting with me chatting as like he's like serving drinks, and he has a glass of whiskey in front of him. And so I'm like, hey, so like what's going on? Because like we keep flirting and like you keep giving me free drinks. So like, are we gonna? And then he goes, oh, I'm just being friendly with you. Exactly. Fuck you. Friendly. Dare you. So he had a full glass of whiskey to go. I literally took the glass of whiskey, I drank it all in one gulp, and I just walked out of the bar. Like a wild girl. God damn.
That's right.
I was like, if you're not fucking me, fuck you. I just walked the fuck. I wish other people had their reaction. I learned that that's just why they hate Americans. It's because people do shit like that. You're like, never again. So I walk out of the bar, and I'm still like, you know, I'm feeling like, you know, it's like, I gotta do something with all this energy, because I had all this like flirty energy. And so I fire up an app, which is what you say when you're 40. You know, you fire up an app. You know, you go, I cracked the Victrola. And so like I did that. And so then I match with this guy, and he goes, oh, hey, what's up? Oh, don't worry, he has a name. Actually, Ocean, you know, it doesn't matter. His name is Neil, but it's fine. It's not. They're literally all named Neil or Edward. It's like literally the same 3 names. It's like Neil, Edward, John, Macbeth. They would cycle through all 4 of them. Doesn't fucking change. Like maybe there's a brain part. Like that's all it fucking is. They're the same name. So I start chatting with Neil, and Neil goes, "Oh, like you know, what are you up to this evening? It's kind of late." And I was like, "To be honest, I'm a little drunk." And he goes, "Oh, I'm a little drunk too." And I was like, "Oh my god, we have so much in common." Like, are you a Gemini? Like that's crazy. So we're chatting, and then over the course of the chat, I asked him, "Oh, what are you doing while you're in Scotland?" He goes, "Oh, I'm an actor. Actually, I'm in this play, and it's a play about a guy who falls in love with a band." And I'm like, "That's on brand for Edinburgh." Like, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a stand-up comedian, but I'm here to do storytelling. I'm doing it at this venue." And he goes, "Oh, that's so cool. We're performers." So we keep talking, and then I ask him, "So since you live in Scotland, where do you like live?" And then he goes, "Technically, I live in a van," which is that's a red flag, right? Like, also don't add adverbs. Like you just live in a van. You don't technically live in a van. Actually live in a van. That's a sad thing. But you know, talking because he's like really funny and like we have a great rapport, and he sent a dick pic. Like, come on, you. And it was big, you know, and it was uncut. I was like, what? It was great. I was like, more protein for me, don't slut shame, sir. So like, listen, I love the chicken at Popeyes. Okay, it's making a little good. So I was like, keep talking, and then it gets to the point. It's at like 1:30 in the morning. So now I'm like, okay, we've been talking. We got to figure out something to do. And he goes, hey, do you want to come to my band? And as JG and I talked about before, we watch a lot of true crime. So I was like, are you a serial killer? I literally typed that. And you know what he responded? He said, you'll have to come to the band to find out.
That's not a good answer.
No, survey said, like, what are we doing? But in Scotland, Michelle said you only live once. So I was like, where is your band? And so he was like, okay, I'm parked at the corner of this and this. Which first of all, that's rude. You're parallel park, like at least park at a 60-degree angle. Like you can just see in that's parallel park. Like, okay, we don't fucking bands. So I'm not that okay, my mom goes and shut this part off. So he's like, you're gonna walk to the van, and he's like, first I'm gonna clean up the van for you. And I said, are you gonna put down a tarp? Like, what do you mean? But he's like, no, I'm gonna clean up the van, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk to the van, and then you're gonna knock on the door twice, and I'll slide the door open.
Wow.
So I walked to the van. I had drank a full glass of whiskey. I clearly I did not have my you have those moments where your life literally flashes before your eyes. Like you're like, what is I paid my student loan. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like I literally was like, oh my, like this is how white girls go missing on vacation. Like what? Hashtag Natalie Holloway. What are we doing? But I knock on the door, the van door slides open, and I'm completely ready to be like, okay, I guess this is just the end of my tour and my life. I went out with a bang. And so the door opens, and he is hotter than his pictures. He's completely naked in the van, just like naked lying down waiting for me. And see, he's on a bearskin rug. A bearskin rug! Crazy! I was like, you actually cleaned up this van! You did all this for me? This is an infinity thread count on this bearskin rug. And he was like, for privacy, he taped up curtains to 3 of the sides of the van. So where 3 of the sides are gonna be like nasty, you know? And on the 4th side, I could be like, help! Like it was like so thoughtful. So we had it was amazing sex. It was like very, very good. And again, I'm not a ghost. Thank you. Not a ghost, I need it. And then when you like start sobering up and you're like, oh yeah, this is not like the optimal location. Again, seeing a lot of true crime, I don't want to go to a second one. So I was like, okay, it's time to get going. But first I was like, hey, I have to pee. Like, what do you do? And then he handed me an Avion bottle. And I was like, the magic's over, you know? I mean, the A was not a dishonor, so that's nice. It's fine here. But there's no flush on this. So I was like, okay, it's time for me to go. I'm gonna leave. And then rude, he didn't drive me to my place. I was like, bitch, you in the van. Like, so I didn't get out. So I get out of the van and I walk, and as I'm opening the van, this dog walker walks by me, and I was like, oh no, I'm literally like walking of shame from the van. And the dog walker's like looking at me really hard. Okay, whatever, you guys look in Edinburgh, I'm different. And then he starts looking at me really, really hard, and that's when I look at my own arm and I notice I have dried cum all of my arm. Just action. Don't worry. Just action. Normally I end there, but as a side note, so this all happens, and then again, this is the day I'm getting ready to leave, and then I walk to the bar. I apologize to the guy who was catering, and then I walk back from the pub, and I see a guy, and he goes, and I'm like, I didn't even fuck you up. And then I got a message on Grindr, and he's like, hey, just walk past you. I was like, oh my god, it was dark, I didn't know. And then he was like, oh, you should look me up. And I looked him up, he's a real actor. He was featured in the New York Times. He's an actor. I'm gonna try to fuck him again. All right, thank you guys so much.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been there. We've all had drag come on us. listen, we've all had it happen.
Of course.
Yeah.
We all have it.
I mean, are we adults?
Of course we are adults.
Exactly.
But all the
I've had it all,
adults
you know, we've had it all over.
here.
This way, I have to wash it once a week. All right. I'm very excited to keep the show going, everybody. Calvin, I left my microphone. We just shared a condo. Oh no, that's so nasty. I'm so sorry. All right, I'm very excited to bring up your next storyteller of the night. Are you all excited too?
Hello, everyone. Following you, gosh, it sounds so raunchy. I didn't really have like a theme. I know it was called Potpourri. I just wanted to just say something about who I am. Okay. I am, when I said I was the last of a line, it is because I am the last descendant of Frederick Douglass.
Wow.
So what that means is that for me, it's a huge thing. I was raised my whole life knowing what that meant, but then I was also raised at a time when being raised in Harlem by two mothers was kind of like illegal in the 70s. So it felt like, that's the story I want to talk about. Okay, I was raised in Harlem in 1972. And my mother met another woman, and the two of us became family with her daughter, and that's my sister. So it's the four of us, you know, fighting against, you know, the world. Having children when you were with same-sex couples in the 70s was illegal. So what we had to do was kind of hide out. Being children, we didn't know what that meant. So we went to school. And in the 70s, when they had Pride, they would have it in Central Park sometimes. So they have all these people out in, you know, Central Park getting down, dancing and stuff. My sister and I love picking up the buttons. Kiss me, I'm a frog. Kiss me, I'm a rubber band. Kiss me, you know me, all those things. So we went to school. I think I was in first grade. My sister could have been in second grade. So we go to school and we have our buttons on. Our mothers didn't notice that we walked out with buttons, but all kids love buttons, you know what I'm saying? We go to school with the buttons. And then all of a sudden I'm called into the principal's office. And I go down there and my sister's there and she's crying. And I'm like, what's going on, sister? And she's like, I don't know. I was called into the principal's office too. My mother comes in and she's pissed off. She comes in, she goes into the office, she's talking. You just see hands flaring all around the place. And then we're taken home. We lived across the street. So we going home, my mother's like, oh yeah, you know, you're gonna stay in the house right now. And I'm like, is this a half day or something? We're all the kids. And she's like, nah, it's just a special thing. So when my other mother came home, we found out that we no longer were going to that school. And it was because if they found out that, you know, again, two mothers, they could have taken us to BCW. So my sister and I had no idea what that was. So we were just like, okay, cool. So we just went to another school and we just did this throughout our lives, you know, when we were little in the 70s. The horror of it all, having mothers that we had, they made things fun. So I remember going home, it was like near Christmas time. We were outside and we come into our building, we walk up to the door and the whole keyhole is gone. You know, the knob, everything is gone. So we were like, what's going on? And my moms knew instinctively that means that we were just robbed. But we are kids, we don't know what that is. We walk into our house, and when I tell you the whole apartment was cleared out, it was cleared out. We had a tree, we had presents, we had furniture for all the rooms. It was cleaned out. So we had no recourse. My mothers had no recourse. She couldn't go to the cops, because if you go to the cops, they're gonna find out you're a lesbian and you got kids. So they just sucked it up and we just moved again. This happened a lot. And every time it happened, my mom would say, I'm an artist, I just want to paint different walls. I'm getting bored in these apartments. So they kept it from us, but we always knew something was weird. It was just this weird feeling in Harlem, so we grew up in Harlem, where being gay, even though everybody knew what was going on, you just couldn't say anything about it. We go to the Bronx, then my other mother becomes my aunt. even though that wasn't my aunt. My mother had a lot of brothers and sisters, but having my mother and my other mother sleeping in the same bed, like, what's going on? So we all knew what that was about. So fast forwarding to my father's side of the family, that's the side with Frederick Douglass. Woo! Being raised in that family, knowing who you are and knowing that you are the last of my line. My family goes back to 1702 in America. And when you look at the family tree, I am the last person with Bailey. I'm a lesbian, so I'm not having no children. So and I'm also 50, so that shit sailed a long time ago. And I'm like, what am I gonna do with this idea of not being able to have children?
This sperm donate.
No, I cannot. I can't. Multiple sclerosis. So when you have MS, that shit sails really long ago. Like it's just not possible. So I had to think about what it is that I am on this earth to do. Like, why is it that I have this man's blood running through my body? I've known him all my life. I've done lectures. I've also worked at Martha Stewart Living. And that, I know the joke was like funny, right? But I worked there before she got arrested. So, and it's like all, public knowledge. It's not like I'm making anything up. But while I worked for her, I did a family tree story with her. And I had to bring my history to this company. And they looked at me like, because I was a receptionist. They were like, oh, you go way back there? Whoa, what's going on? You just not just a receptionist? And I was like, you can't just look at a person and think that you know who they are. So they did a story on me, and then from there, Martha sent her people down to a family reunion that my family had. They covered that whole thing. I'm there for 4.5 years, working for her with people who are looking at me as, like, one person said, oh, did you ever meet him? I've never been so like, oh my God, history is everybody, like, you know what I mean? But bringing it all together, if you know anything about Frederick Douglass, he was the reason why our black asses are free in America.
That's right.
But also, something that came out of me is that I am standing up with his blood, my last name being Bailey. And I said to myself, every time I speak, I'm speaking with the fact that I was raised by two mothers at a time when it was illegal. I have a sister, and I grew up with the word chosen family, and I recreated that in my own family. So I always go, I stand up for my mom because I didn't have the day to do that. Growing up was like shame about who your parents were. Not being able to talk about who your parents were. It felt like almost like being like a refugee in your own country. And then on top of that, having the knowledge of who my family is, that was also a trippy thing. It's not only that I come to this country or I'm in this country, whatever, but one of the biggest lies of America is in my blood. And here I am hiding frantically, afraid of people finding out that I got two moms. And that took me all the way to high school. It took me to college. It took me to moving out my own back to Harlem. It took me to working. It took me to all these places where I had to stand up for my mom, both of them. And at this point in time, I've lost both my parents, my father and my mom, to cancer. But the spirit of the two of them comes into me, And I decided that when I speak now, Bayard Rustin was not allowed to be part of the movement. I felt like if Frederick Douglass had brought along the LGBTQ, we wouldn't even have these letters today. You know what I mean? It would be so far ahead. The stuff that's going out in the streets, people killing each other, a lot of that stuff could have been handled if we had an institution for people to learn how to fight for justice. I just feel really, really like proud of not only where I come from, but also the fact that I have the love in my heart for a same-sex person. Which also explains to me that when people say that this is something I learned from, we learned from being white or being here in America, white people, I'm like, I am from the bloodline of people before there was even any of that stuff, and here I am gay. You know what I mean? My mom was gay, and there's nothing wrong with it.
That's right.
So it's kind of like with all of that knowledge, and I feel super free.
You
And I
are.
wanted to be able to come out on Black History Month or whatever, this short month that we get, and talk about a person who, you know, has walked the walk of being in America, being a child of the 70s, and being raised by two moms. And anytime I've spoken about that, people are like, oh wow, what was that like? It was interesting. It was interesting.
It's no different.
It was really interesting to see what family looked like. And to see that we're still fighting for the same rights that my moms, you know, were fighting for back in the 70s. And nothing really has changed. I mean, my moms weren't allowed to get married. And so here I am now, able to get married with a partner who doesn't believe in marriage. Wow, you know what I mean? And I was like, I want to be able to have children. Then my neurologist said, Naji, you're 40. You got to think about that right now. And I'm like, well, I can't just, you know, jump on a penis. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way I'm going to get pregnant. And she's like, well, I think you got to give that up. And I was like, well, damn. So it was like really like, all in all, 1702 till the date of my death is like how long my family has been in this country. And wow, I have a lot of stories to tell. Like, this is probably not the appropriate place because a lot of it gets dark, but there's a lot of beauty in it too, you know, of knowing who you are. And also being able to, like I said, I'm gay. And I can say that without being like, probably gonna come through the door, take me away, take my cat, because I don't have kids, take my cat. And you know, like, thank you for having me here tonight. So just to be express these, you know, these feelings that I have. And thank you, family and friends. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's amazing. That's great. Keep it going. Incredible. Man.
Yeah.
I worked for the mayor of New Bedford for a little bit. So there are two Frederick Douglass houses there in New Bedford, Massachusetts. I'm sure you know. One of them got knocked down when they built that highway, because they don't care about Black history and white spaces. They were trying to, yes, and they were trying to tear down another one when I worked for the mayor. We got them together. We gathered them up real quick. But yeah, it's wild. Anyway, on to less depressing thing. But yeah, no, that was a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, so I'm very excited for your final storyteller of the night. Are you guys excited too? Yeah. All right, get your hands together right now. This person runs a show called Black Light Comedy. You can see it once a month. Yes. All right, you guys get your hands together right now for Lois Thompson.
Thank you. How's everybody doing? Hey.
I'm gonna great.
Hi, audience. I'm wearing my lesbian superhero outfit. Gay tracksuit. You can't get gayer. You can't get gayer than this.
Of
Gay
course.
tracksuit.
It's hello.
Can't wear it in every airport.
The
Though.
creed stands for nature.
Can't wear it in every
The
airport.
red stands for
Hello,
life.
people in the what do you call it? Sphere. Where is this called? What do you call it? The internet. Hi, internet. How you doing? Well, there's so many stories. I have so many stories. I was speaking to my wife earlier. I said, sweetheart, I got a lot of stories. Which one should I tell? And she paused a moment and she said, oh, tell them about that one that when you died. That's always good for a couple of laughs. See, she was right. You were right, Nate. They already laughed. This is a true story. April 13th, 2009. I woke up that morning and I said to myself, all right, this is the time I need to start working out again. I'm gonna get myself in shape. Like, forget about like just laying around every morning. I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna freaking go for it. Not that any Black person ever lays around any morning. Every time you get up, you know there's some shit to do. You know, it's just to run. It's just, you know, away from something. It's a thing.
Yeah, sometimes.
You have something to do.
I've been there.
And I decided I'm gonna go to Fort Greene Park and I'm gonna go run a couple of those hills there, get myself together. Because mind you, I spent 20 years, it was 2009, so I am 7 years into a career in real estate, right? Doing great, everything's fantastic, but I just did not exercise anymore. I stopped. In film, I was a grip. Let me tell you, my body was fucking tight. And I did that for almost 20 years. And I was coasting on my grip body. From like 2001 to 2009. At a certain point, it started to give way, and I was like, well, we gotta get together. So I go to Fort Greene Park, start running. Not like running like a big full-out person running, just like jog on, you know how to do it. You know, I didn't do that shoulder run. You ever see people with the shoulder running? They're never actually moving anywhere but those freaking shoulders and just going, you know, as if, you know, raising your ears up a little bit kind of changes the odometer in some way. But anyway, get to the top of the hill and I'm freaking wheezing. I'm literally like, and I'm saying, God, I'm a little bit more out of shape than I thought I was. Okay, no problem. Let me just not do this today. I'll just walk around the park. Walk around the park, go home. Don't think anything of it. Golly, I must have strained my neck. Like, what the fuck? Oh, my arm. Okay. But see, Black person in America, you just don't go to the doctor and you're bleeding. You just don't go. You know, so I'm like, all right, it's work itself out. It's because I strained myself trying to run. That's why. 2014, very much the same thing. Just feeling not great. The morning of 2015, I had an appointment to see the dentist. I was gonna go to the dentist, have them knock me out, drill a tooth, fix the thing, blah, blah, blah. And Dr. Branham, God bless his dear heart, great man. If you ever want a great dentist, Black dentist, Dr. Branham, St. James Place. This is a commercial thing, Dr. Branham. So I want a discount, yeah. I'm laying on the couch, about to go to my appointment, tired, too tired. I'm like, I can't, let me just take a little nap and then I'll go to the dentist. Lay down on the sofa. 3 hours later, woke up, missed my appointment. Call the office, guys, sorry, overslept. But being a Caribbean person, can't take a day off. Can't really take a day off. So I just said to myself, okay, if I took the day off, I must be productive. I must do something with this day. You can't just sit around your house. So I went and I picked up a camera that I had and I said, okay, let me take this to Chrysler Photo to get fixed. Because I had this camera for a while and I figured, let me take it to Chrysler Photo. Chrysler Photo, 35th Street, if anybody knows, like 34th Street, 9th Avenue, right? I'm living in Bed-Stuy, decided let me take the train. Walking to the train, it's about a 7-block walk from my house to the train station, stage train. I'm walking down a block and I'm stopping every third step to just lean up and go, man, golly, with this breath and breathing, it's so weird. Never thinking in my head there's something going wrong with my body. Not fucking retarded. So kept walking, got on the train, and actually the motion from the train made me feel better. There was something about that I guess was like, you know, matching whatever the hell was going on in my body, and it felt okay. That's all. See, I knew it was nothing. This is fine. Get up at 34th Street, and I'm getting off on the lower level. If you guys know the 34th Street train station, when coming from Brooklyn, you can be on the way lower level, then you walk up to the middle of it, then you walk up the street.
Right.
Walked up the stairs, first stairs. Okay. Got to the second stair to go up, and this is the stair that opens onto the side of the TikTok diner. You know, and I could see the sun. If you remember April 15, 2009, and I know you do, it was a beautiful day. It was tax day, and it was gorgeous. Partly a cloud in the sky. As I'm walking up the stairs, I'm realizing I'm holding onto the banister, and I'm literally having to pull myself up the stairs because all I'm saying is, okay, if I can get to the top of the stairs and get to that little red fire hydrant thing that sticks out from the side of the TikTok diner, and I sit down there, I'm gonna be okay. I get to the top of the stairs, I'm looking out at the little red hydrant, and I see my hands in front of my face reaching for the hydrant, and then I just start to see more sky behind my hands than anything else. Darkness. I wake up, there's this young white boy shaking me. Now he's got woolly hair, a little mustache, and a little beard, and the sun's right behind his head. And he's shaking me, going, Miss, are you okay? And I open my eyes and look at him and go, it's Jesus. All those jokes about crippled children and old ladies didn't hurt me at all. I'm going to heaven. And then I hear, and I turn my head to the side and realize I am on the ground on 34th Street and 8th Avenue. Ooh, I'm gonna die from the germs. Whatever was going on in my body, who cared about that? The germs were gonna kill me. That's what was gonna get me. And he shook me, and this woman named Brenda from the New Yorker Hotel, she had a little thing, brought me some orange juice, and I drank it, and I felt better. And they sat me up on the hydrant, they gathered up all my things on the sidewalk, my camera and stuff, put it back in my bag, gave it to me, said, ma'am, you gonna be okay? And I said, yes, I'm gonna be fine. Thank you, people. Thank you, everyone, for helping me. And I say to myself, okay, Lois, go get your camera repaired, because I'm retarded. Continue to walk down 34th Street, get to Chrysler Camera, walk up the stairs to Chrysler Camera, stand there and proceed to tell this young boy this whole story. And he looks at me and goes, wow, that's really deep. What's wrong with your camera? Give me my camera, we go through the whole thing. I walk back down the stairs from Chrysler Camera, step out onto the street, and all of a sudden, I lose my peripheral vision. I can only see directly in front of me, and all I hear is the blood coursing through my veins. When you start to hear your blood in your ears, like the actual sound of blood going through your veins, that's a danger sign, people. And you want to get yourself somewhere for some medical help. Just thought I'd share that. Everything started to go in slow motion. And this was back in the day, there was no Uber, 2009, thank God there was no Uber. I didn't have to go and and wait for somebody, I could just stick my hand in the air. I put my hand in the air, cab came, I got in, and I could hear myself talking, and I sounded like a speaker underwater on Quaaludes. Excuse me, could you take me to Roosevelt Hospital? It's not for I have cash.
Okay.
Literally.
Yeah.
Get to the hospital. This is a New York City emergency room. There was no one in the emergency room. That never happens.
Yeah.
No one. The doors open. There is a nurse standing there wearing an entire nurse's uniform. And I don't know if you guys remember what that used to be. It wasn't this thing with the scrubs and stuff. But even then, it was unusual that she had on what she had on. Nurse Ratchet all the way. The white cap, the starched pleated front, the straight skirt, the white stockings, the white shoes. She says, hey, honey, you need some help?
Thinking of
I
bubbly.
just walked in, she sat me down in triage, and she said, do you have anybody I could call for you? Now this is when shit gets real. I'm a person, I handle everything my whole life all by myself. Generally, that's the way I do. Being in a partnership with someone now, it's a very difficult thing for me to learn. So I know that when I call my wife into anything, that's a real fucking thing. Like it becomes a real thing. Including her, brings it up from some other space and puts it in a whole nother freaking space. That means that what's happening right now is beyond me. And so was that funny? I start crying. And then I start, don't. And then I start crying. I start crying because I realize, holy fucking shit. I spent 11 days in that hospital. What they figured out is that I had bilateral pulmonary embolisms.
Wow. Oh
Basically,
my
if you know
God.
anything about buckshot, if you ever shoot anything with shotgun, this thing called buckshot comes out. and buckshot just kind of hits you all over your body, and it's just like holds. That is what my lungs look like.
Wow.
Apparently, most of the time when they find this in Black women in particular, it's during an autopsy. We don't really survive it. And I almost did not survive it because I spent 11 days in hospital, and I tell you what I remember. I remember I was 3 feet off the bed the entire time. I was between going up there or coming back here and being here in my body. And let me tell you the little adventure that happened then. In unconsciousness, in whatever other world I was in, they sat me down with a guy, I don't know they, but I sat down in the hallway, very narrow hallway, with a guy that looks like the guy. Now, if you used to travel back in the day, and I'm talking about the 90s, the 80s, and you ever lost anything at an airport, they would send you to this room. It was the airport lost and found, and there'd be a guy there with a book. And the guy would sit there with the book and go, yeah, somebody bought one of those in. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah. Okay, Samsonite? Yeah. And they'd take you to a room. You go up the room, and there'd be miles and miles of black suitcases. And you go, well, have at it. Good luck. That guy sitting there with this book, asking me about time. And he told me, well, you could live longer. You actually have about 10 to 12 years that you've already wasted. And I was like, what are you talking about tonight? I've been like working, I've been doing stuff. He said, right here, right now to this point, you've watched TV for 5.5 years. In a cumulative time, you've watched 5.5 years of TV. You've played 10 years of video games. Okay? You've read 3 years worth of books, and you've drugged out about 8.5 to 9 years. Every single moment that is happening in your life is a real and actual moment. This is a real second, right here. This moment that we are here with each other, these are seconds. This second here, that second, that second, that second, that second, that second. All really real seconds. Real time, real things. This is it, and this is all that we have. This is all that we have. There's nothing, there isn't a second that has no value. So just be careful what you do with your time. My memory, I've lost my 20s and I've lost some of my 30s. I'm very, very happy that I have friends in my life from then that tell me I was pretty great. And so I say that every moment that you spend is a real and worthwhile moment. And I hope that you remember this moment. I'm not going to remember your name. I'll tell you that straight off the bat. Can't do it. I'm not going to remember your name, but I will remember your face. And I will remember your smiles. And I hope you remember mine too.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Welcome. Oh man, I've actually been hearing that swooshing in my ears for like a while now. And I've gone and gotten the MRIs and everything. They haven't found anything. What tests did they run on you? What just
full body Dopplers, full body CAT scans.
okay, that's what I need because I do have a history of asthma, so they just like souped me up with my asthma medicine. I have a history of bleeding, so they souped me up with that stuff. I had an ulcer when I was 12, all this stuff. And I've been hearing the whooshing.
Oh.
Yeah. You might have just saved my life tonight. Look, give it up for Lois. Thank you for joining us all at home or wherever you are. This has been I was calling it Potpourri because I guess I'd never seen Potpourri spelled. That's hilarious. I thought I knew how to spell Potpourri. All right, I've been doing Brown. Have a great rest of your night. Is that it? All right.